Thank you. Good morning. Thanks, Molly, for having me talk to you today about scheduling and keeping a routine during this crazy time where I'm used to working at home, and some people are, but a lot of people are not used to setting up an office and teaching their children at home, trying to work at home, and trying to figure out how we're going to navigate this coronavirus 2020. But the good news is it can be fun working at home, but the one main thing that you want to definitely do is try to keep to some kind of schedule. And I know it's easy now because, nobody can see what I'm wearing on the bottom of my legs, but I am dressed this morning. And so, try to get up at the same time, try to take a shower. I did my hair today, will not be done tomorrow. That's okay. And, but I just think having a routine and a schedule is important because it gives you some purpose during the day. And you're trying to teach your kids, if your kids are little, my kids are older, pardon me, and trying to navigate our home office area now with 3 kids, 2 in college and 1 in high school, taking classes, trying to find spots for them each to sit so we're not all over each other. And also trying just to navigate, I'm up early and my breakfast is finished. And when I'm ready for lunch, they're literally coming in for their breakfast. So trying to navigate around the house differently that way. But basically what I wanted to talk to you today about is trying to create your own zone for work and how important it is to keep a schedule. So here's the first slide. Don't we all look relaxed? We're all just like so stressed out. But, and I did these in black and white, but I'll share them with you in color. So basically it's like I'm in here. So you have to find and carve out your own space. And it could be in a room that your children are not using right now. It can be your couch. However, I would strongly suggest a table and a chair. Just because when you go to work, you're working on a table and a chair. And I see, Muffy, you're sitting on the couch, but that's okay because you're using your laptop. Right. But if you're going to do extended long work, I would even consider you can go to Wayfair. You can go on Google and get a chair, an office chair. They're a couple $100. And I can share a link to one that I have in my home office. Yes, the dining room chair works. And number 3 is creating your own zone. And what's important about that is it's not going to be perfect right now. The dining room table is going to be where you're working. You may have an old desk from your kids. You may have to call your neighbor and get that ping pong table back because finding a space for everybody in your house is going to be important.
That's my problem. The kids came home from college and took my desk and took my spaces because I think it's more important for them to have a good space right now to do their work.
Yes. So do you have an area in your house, like maybe in the living room, where you could put up even just a card table and get a decent chair? That way you're not sitting all day trying to. Your work zone should be different than your relaxing zone. And I feel like the stress, I think that's the next one. The stress comes in when you're sitting on your sofa and that in your brain is saying, I'm not at work right now. But then you're like, oh my God, I have all this work to do. So you're kind of going back and forth in your brain with trying to see which is more important, which I think when you work from home, you have to separate those 2 things out, which is super difficult because you want to throw the laundry in instead of doing what you're supposed to do at your desk. And then, but you do have to walk around a little bit in your house too. My next slide is talking about when the work is going to be done. So for example, my kids work at 4 in the afternoon until midnight, and that's fine for them. I work from 7 or 8 in the morning until like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And so having this time flip-flop back and forth is stressful because, when I'm trying to work, they're still in bed. And at first I was like, they got to get up and get going. They have school. But they really don't need to do that. It's okay for them to do what they're going to do. And I feel like opposite if you have little children at home, because you can't just tell your kids to watch TV all day or be on their own with their teachers. And so you may have to get up very early in the morning, or you may have to stay up later and try to navigate when you can get your work done. And basically this just says it doesn't matter when the work is done as long as you're consistently doing the work. And then at the very bottom,
We lost you.
there we go. I think it wants to mute me and I don't know why, but can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so sticking to a schedule will help you feel better in the end, so you're not flopping all over the house trying to figure out when you're working and when you're not. The last thing I wanted to share with you is super important to give yourself grace. None of us have done this before, and it's very stressful trying to figure out how you're going to set up your computer, how are you going to set up your desk, what time am I going to be at work, what time am I not going to be at work. A couple weeks ago, we didn't think that we were going to be all working from our homes, but we are. And so it's kind of fun to take this time now and also think about how you can serve other people. Think about how you can talk to those people at your office who you're used to being around and they're sitting at home. And for some of us, our home is already our sanctuary. I like working from home. I'm used to being by myself. But a lot of people are not. And if you're an extrovert and you're used to being around people, having time to connect with people like this on Zoom is going to be really, really, really important to keep you sane. We want everybody sane and happy. And then the other part about this is it's not going to be forever. So reminding yourself that this is temporary, even though it feels like hell right now to most of us, but it's going to change, it's going to pass, we're going to get through this, and just supporting each other during this time is going to be really, when you look back, one of the most important connections that we can do. And my last point is, if you focus on other people, it helps you move forward throughout your day. One huge tip that I always think of is my clients are literally outside my window looking in and waiting for me to get the work done. So undistract myself and really focus and do some block scheduling. I'm not going to leave my desk for 2 hours. I'm going to work on this stuff. And then at the 2 hours, then I can say, oh, I can have coffee, or I can have cookie, or I'll go for a walk outside, or check in with a friend. So are there any questions?
Ingrid, I had a question. You and I talked a little bit before about the distractions, the husbands who, aren't understanding that, we're working right now and they're coming in and making a grilled cheese sandwich or whatever. How do you distance yourself or help your family understand that I've respected your time and now it's my time, or anything like that?
That's a great question. I have a set of doors I work in our living room, and when the doors are closed, they just know that they're not to come in right now. When the doors are open, it's kind of like my office is open and we're open for business and whatever. If they're in the kitchen, like I just said, I have a meeting from 11 to 11:30. I would appreciate if it could be quiet. And thankfully, they're all on their own screens right now doing their work. So Emma was making a smoothie at like 5 of, and this is Emma. Okay. I need to hurry. So that I think it's a mindset issue as well, Molly, because you just literally have to put a note on your desktop or your laptop or on your desk or on your something around your finger. I'm working right now until, and kind of block off that time and don't let the outside world kind of get in your head and distract you.
I'd like to contribute kind of a thought,
Yes.
because I work from home a lot. As a realtor, I'd say 50% of the stuff is on my computer, whether it's searching for houses, emailing mortgage people, title companies, responding to clients, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things I found really helpful is one of those desktops that raise up, so I could stand and do my work as well. And that kind of helped keep me energized. And I think it's very, very important to set a set schedule and set a routine. Like every morning I wake up, I have my cup of coffee, I go through my emails, then I flag them, take a break, take, some of that stuff that I need to either look up or phone calls or stuff like that. But I find keeping a schedule is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally. If you don't have a schedule, you're not going to get anything done because you're just going to be spinning around looking for stuff to do.
It could be used when you get back to your regular life and your regular office, and maybe that's something we should be thinking about for those of us who don't work from home, that as we're creating this schedule and we're more focused on how do I do this, make sure that it maybe can move over to both. But I found that this will be implemented. I will be working from home more often. Jessica's just hearing that for the first time over there, but Jessica and I have a very, very small office. And, if she sneezes, we're talking about it. If I cough, we're talking about it. We have no choice but to. So I think that this has been a very good, if there's silver linings, a good thing for the chamber, because we've been able to kind of just focus on our task and go with it. So, but we'll get through it. The Chagrin Valley is strong, and I hear Jessica and I just got a gorgeous email from the Orange Community Center. People's spirits they're good. The business community is suffering, but they're thinking of each other, and they're doing great things with each other, and they're getting creative, which is amazing to see. And Ingrid, we just went from this to.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because we are at home more now, we have to think about people who are not used to being home. Like you, Molly, you're not used to working from home. So any tips that we can provide is awesome, and any help, in any kind of creative, you're right, there's a silver lining. People are going to start getting super creative on how to maneuver this time we're in and make it something that is special somehow,
Yeah. And Ingrid, I would love to partner with you on my living room. I know we've talked a little bit. I have a very narrow living room, and I would like to virtually do it with you and see, and we'll redesign it together on Zoom.
Storm. Yeah.
And
for sure.
show your talents.
I'd love to. Yes, we could do a living room challenge.
I love it. And
put it
we
up.
can,
yep.
Yeah. And then we'll get the big scissors and do a ribbon cutting with my new living room. Because I love bringing out those big scissors.
Yes, we love the big scissors.
Does anybody else have any other questions or comments or anything that they want to share?
Any questions? People who are listening, who tuned in today, send me any questions you have or thoughts. If I can help you in any way with your home office or just navigating around your house, I'd love to help. So complimentary.
And what about dogs? What's your suggestion about animals and pets as you're working from home?
I think it's one of those things where if your neighbor's dog is barking incessantly, there's really not much you can do about it right now. So dogs and cats, I'm on a lot of Zoom calls. Yes, your dog, yes. I'm on a lot of Zoom calls, and there's often cats in the background walking, there's dogs barking, and it's one of those, I feel like it's one of those times where we are home and this is who we are, and so being authentic is part of what you can't help but be authentic right now, because this is where we are. So I think that's one of those other little silver linings in being at home, working from home, living your whole life within your own little compound is, it is what it is. There's no reason to be embarrassed about it. But if you want something, if something's really bothering you, now is the time to kind of go back and look and see, is there some way we can tweak our schedule, some way we can tweak the rooms we're using, and some way to tweak like our mindset about how we may be able to learn something new during this time, and we'll get through it together.
Everybody here has a great space, like your background, your pictures on the wall. You see, I have a completely bare dining room wall, so maybe I can use your help, Ingrid.
Get those pictures up on the wall. Do what Amanda did on that on her wall.
I have something like that in my hallway, but not in the dining room.
And I do
We can
agree.
work on that.
Yeah, I do agree with the, being authentic. I think that's really going to help the business community. Our residents and the community are going to see another part of these business owners. And I think it's going to help business in the future, because I think that people like to feel connected to who they're supporting. And I think it's going to actually be a blessing in disguise.
I think people are making connections now that they might not have done prior to this. So yeah, for sure. I think it's going to, even though we're apart, it's going to bring us closer together.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. Thank you, Ingrid, so much. In this Zoom, it's recording, like I said, and I will send it out to you guys with Ingrid's contact if you would like to reach out to her. And I mentioned before, all our other Zooms are on cvcc.org. You can go and just click on a little icon that says virtual pop-ups, and you can see some of the other ones. And then you guys all please be safe, be well, and stay home. And Ingrid, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Molly. I really appreciate it.
Thank
you,
you.
guys. We'll see you all. Have a great day. Happy Monday.
You too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Monday. It is Monday, everybody.
Yeah.
We'll see ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.